Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community. Welcome to Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition. It is episode 190. Apparently my zero key doesn't work, so it says it's the 19, but that is incorrect. It's episode 190, and it's April 4th, 2023. Just keeping you on your toes there, everybody. So, welcome, Daniel. Good to have you back with the podcast with us. It's been a while.
It has been a little bit. It's good to be back.
Yep, last week we had a Thursday podcast instead of a Tuesday podcast, so this one's going to be a little bit lighter, but don't worry, we'll fill the dead air with some opinions. We'll see how that works. We'll see if they're popular or unpopular as we go. But again, episode 190, and first up, let's just thank our sponsors, Order Solutions, the makers of ColdBox, CommandBox, ForgeBox, TestBox, all the other boxes, almost all the other boxes out there.
Mm-hmm. And as always, there's several ways to say thanks to Ortus. You can like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube like you're watching now. You can help us reach for the stars by starring and forking our repos. You can subscribe to this podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can sign up for a free or paid account on CFCasts, where we've got new content coming regularly. The Box Life store, you can buy some merch. I was actually going to wear one of my Box Life shirts, but then it didn't work out. Some other time. You can also buy our Orders books, 102 ColdBox HMVC quick tips and tricks, and learn modern Cold Fusion CFML in 100 plus minutes. It is free online, but you can also buy a physical book if you like having physical books.
Yep, something about physicals. Yep, something about those physical books are just kind of nice sometimes. But yeah, and of course, the best way to support us right now, if you're not in DC at Luis's workshop right now, the next best way is to come join us for Into the Box, the 10th edition, and that's in person only. So if you guys want to see that content, you've got to come in and join us. We got some cool stuff planned, so we'll tell you a little bit more when we get down to the conference section. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. Right now we have 41 Patreons, and they're doing a great job to support us for the podcast. Things like CommandBox and open source libraries, everything they do. We really appreciate you guys there, so thank you so much.
And they're just nice people. We talk to them a lot. We see them at conferences and out in the wild. And
in the wild. People. I like that term. Sorry, I wasn't laughing
at you.
Out in
the wild.
yeah, but for sure. Yeah, they've got a lot of great people, and you'll see them all over the place. And thanks for those joining the chat. If you're in the chat, say hi. We always like to chit-chat a little bit as we go.
You got a few people.
Okay. So, news and announcements. Let's start off. We only have a few. Like I said, we had the podcast just last Thursday, so not too many big announcements since then. But
that's okay. But in case you missed it, State of the Union or State of the CF Union 2023 is released. Like they do every year, TerraTech sends out a survey for State of the CF Union. Help us find out what we all use, what's good, what's hot, or what's not in the world of CFML. Frameworks, tools, all that stuff.
Yeah, and for those who like JavaScript, some of us like it, not everybody, but some of us do. I'm just going to post a link too, because the State of the JS Union survey was pretty interesting. I listened to a podcast where they went over it, some of the ones that we did with TerraTech, Brad and myself. But it's kind of cool. It has a lot of the similar things, but the interesting thing was I heard about all these technologies I'd never heard of before. So if you guys are curious about what's going on in this JavaScript world, you should check that out. It's very interesting, and when you find out all the things you don't know, you're going to realize that it's changing faster than you thought. Because for a while, everyone's like, there's a new framework every week. I'm like, obviously I just haven't paid attention because it's still been going on for the last 2 years and there's a million more. So anyway.
It's funny you say that. They've been doing the State of the CF Union for years. And back when I was less worldly, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of a cool Cold Fusion thing. I should look into that. And so it's kind of neat seeing all these different things people are using and oh, they're using this. I should start learning that. And
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I really like the State of the CF Union survey, and they did a lot of work, um, basically going back over the years and sort of trying to create a trends version, and so that's kind of interesting. I know that when we were having the interviews, whatever, we're talking about just every year, and then we're like, it would be nice if we could see, how Adobe's different versions have gone up and down over the years as new versions come out, have they changed or whatnot, so stuff like that. So anyway, so they were working on that, but pretty cool. Okay, next up, we have new releases and updates, and again, we just got basically a couple of reminders again. So the first one, you had to miss it, right, with all this OpenAI stuff out there. But yes, Otis has an OpenAI thing too. So we created a little chat GPT sort of setup for you on chatgpt.autosolutions.com. And basically what it's done is it's taken the same interface you're used to, but instead of having the random Google search world up to September 2021 loaded into it, this little robot only knows what we've trained it on. And so we trained it on like 24 Git books that we have or whatnot. And so we just threw a bunch of data in there, and then, basically you can see what AI can do to give you some good answers. And it's kind of neat. I mean, obviously we have to remember these are only generative systems, so they don't actually have an understanding of anything. They basically know how syntax works and how words and whatever fit together and look at patterns. So, if the information's in there, they can give you, a nice what they call a transformative view of it, which usually is pretty helpful. But yeah, it's not alive yet. Just so everybody remembers that. But it's got some pretty
it's
good answers though, right?
it's impressive. Well, it's funny, you Gavin, when you and Grant working on this last month, you're doing us a presentation and showing it to us. And what's the one of the first questions we asked? Who broke ColdBox? And what did it answer?
Well, the first time I think it said Luis Mahano.
That's right.
But then, yeah, then another one we asked who Brad Wood was, and it didn't know because that Git book didn't know who Brad was. So we loaded a few other Git books in there, and then it knew who Brad was.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's funny of mine. A friend of mine sent me a screenshot. He asked it, "Who's the man?" And it said, "Luis Mahano is the man." I'm like, "Oh, huh, okay."
yeah, but if you actually want to use it for useful purposes, it is actually really good for getting information. I asked it things like, when should you reinit your ColdBox application, and it gives you the reasons and the times you need to reinit. It's pretty smart. Like a lot of the commonly asked questions that we get all the time, if you put it into ChatGPT, it'll give you an answer. If you went to the search box on the Git book, you'd have to know what you're looking for to find it, and so this sort of helps bridge the gap, which is kind of neat. Basically, it takes your question and tries to map it to the right type of question. So I really like it. I'm really enjoying it, and obviously a lot of people are using AI and stuff, and I think when you can train it on your own documentation, like we've done, and we're adding more documentation soon too, so don't worry about that. But yeah, anyway, it's pretty cool. So if you haven't played with it yet, go play with it. I don't think we're broke on the bank yet, so it's still running. But yeah, it's a cool little project, a little bit of fun, and we have a couple of sessions at Into the Box on AI. So
Did you want to share it really quick? Show them on the screen.
yeah, I can do that. Let me pull up. Oops.
So you can tell we're all like very excited about this, and this is very cool things that people are coming up with. And
Yep. I mean, it's pretty fun, and like I said, I'm learning more about the AI behind it too. So we got a little robot protector there. So what is GWT? Something simple. And
just knows.
did it work, or we got? Ooh, I wonder if we broke it. See, that's why you get live demos. I'll have to check and see what's up with that. So,
Oh yeah, sorry.
yep, cursed us, but it's okay. So we'll figure out what's not working. Maybe you guys are hitting it too hard in the chat, but yeah, we're having fun with it. Lots of cool stuff coming out of it, and we're already using it in projects already, using some AI stuff, and you'll learn more about it into the box if you guys shop there. Grant's got a session on it, and Scott and I are working on a session as well. So lots of cool stuff going on there. So join us. But
Oh,
what
that'll
else we
work.
got going on?
Those listening, I just went to it and checked it. It does work, so go play. Um, so in case you missed it, Adobe CoFusion 2023 public beta is now on ForgeBox. You can go ahead and use it in your command box servers or doc containers. Use CF Engine equals Adobe at 2023 hyphen beta to start up and ensure you use the latest CF config. So, happy testing. And it's something Brad posted on the Twitter.
Cool. Yeah, and I'm getting the same Alpine error that I got earlier. That's why that one wasn't working for ChatGPT, by the way.
It
So
works for me. I said, "What is JWT?" and it gave me a nice response.
yeah, I'm just saying like there's something weird going on my Cloudflare connection, I guess. So,
Yeah,
anyways,
Cloudflare's being goofy today anyway.
yep, something for sure. So anyway, moving on. So we have webinars and workshops, and if you're today at the training, CF Summit East, Luis is leading a Cold Fusion MVC for Dummies, and that is no mean insult. That is basically the old throwback to the old Dummies books that everybody bought, and if you didn't, well then you probably should have. But yeah, so he's got quite a few people at that workshop today. I think they almost sold out there, so they're
Oh, nice.
they're working hard over there in DC. So good times there. But we have a couple other things coming up this month that we're trying to get scheduled, but because of the spring break and a couple of conferences and everything, we're just trying to get those things finalized. We'll let you know as soon as we have the dates for those. So
And you brought up a good point with we're off this Friday for Good Friday, and that was supposed to be the office hours, so we're probably going to cancel that this week.
yep,
Just for that, General FYI, we'll revisit in May.
yep. So just keep an ear out. We'll let you know on the socials.
Oop, let me post this link. Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, if they're not there already, they're not going to be there.
That's true.
But CFCasts, we got lots of great content up on CFCasts. If you guys haven't checked it out, cfcast.com, and we got some new content coming out all the time. So you want to give us a rundown of the
Absolutely.
most recent stuff?
So Brad's got a Mastering Command Box 5 series. We've got 2 new videos. Mod CFML, the Apache Mod CFML, as well as Mod CFML with IS and bond code. Brad's been doing a great job getting these series out there. Lots of, if you use Command Box or want to use Command Box more, check these out. That's going to save you so much time. Obviously, you can read the documentation, or you can watch a video of Brad showing you what to do.
Yeah, I think he's got 37 or 27 videos or something, and got the next few weeks still of videos coming out, 3 a week. So yeah.
Yeah. And then, as always, we have the 2023 ForgeBox Module of the Week and the VS Code Hit, Tip, and Trick of the Week series. We do a regular segment on this podcast, and we post them afterwards.
Yep, it's a great way to catch up on all those. Or if you're trying to look for one that you're trying to find, we got the playlist up there, so you can go through. And we have the 2022 ones as well. Before that, you'd have to go look at the blogs. So, but we do post them at the end of the year, so you can go catch a blog of all that stuff too.
And then, so
yep, and then coming soon, obviously we got more videos from Brad, and we got more of those VS Code and ForgeBox snippets from the podcast, and then Eric's been working on a couple of series. I guess he's working on a Coldbox Elixir series and a Getting Started with Inertia JS series. So I heard Inertia's name pop up just recently again. It's a great way to get more JavaScript goodness, but still being powered by Cold Fusion. So it's an alternative to CBWire. So pretty cool. Okay, that wraps up our CFCasts. Now, next up, we have conferences and training. So what's going on today?
Today, Dev Nexus. It's happening now as we speak, as you're watching. It's April 4th through 6th in Atlanta. It's at the, again, quit highlighting. It's a Kubernetes, Java, software architecture, Kotlin, and performance tuning conference. DevNexus.com. I was trying to read the thing, and you kept highlighting it, and it kept covering my text.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, let's check it out.
Yep, I think there's a few Otis people there. I believe Brad was there. Maybe Grant was going too. So if you guys are at DevNexus, go say hi. be pretty cool. And then we already mentioned that today Luis is leading the CF Summit East training in Washington, D.C., and the workshop's going to cover a variety of theories, hands-on coding, best practices, and everything, so you can build your MVC-powered apps when you return to your office. So, again, if you're there, have fun. Hopefully you enjoy it. Give us some feedback. And then also this week, we have CF Summit East. So Adobe's putting on the conference. It's going to be tomorrow. The 5th is going to be the certification day, so you can get certified in Adobe Cold Fusion. And then on the 6th, they have the actual one-day mini conference, and it's going to be complimentary breakfast, lunch. So it's a pretty cool day. If you're in the area, definitely highly recommend checking that one out. So
Yeah, and the certification stuff, it was kind of interesting. And Gavin and I, you and I both got certified last fall at CF Summit. And there was some stuff that, oh yeah, we've been doing this a while. Oh yeah, of course. And there's some stuff like, I did not know this because I never used that feature.
yep.
But they do a really good job of giving you a lot of training materials and cover a lot of different scenarios. So
Yeah, it was neat. And then just there on the day too, like they go through sort of a review of all the information because they give you all the materials beforehand. But if you show up on the day and go through the review materials, you're still can be prepped to take it. So, and they do it
yeah,
online in person, or you could take the basically the training later. Sorry, not the training, the test later. We got a certain number of days to take the training
yeah.
online.
But we did it that day. In full disclosure, Gavin beat me, which no one is probably surprised at that. But I
Uh,
passed. So
yeah, there was a few tricky ones, because
there
you
were
don't
some
use
tricky
everything. So yeah, there's always some interesting things. But
Okay, well, moving on. Jay on the beach. I assume that's JavaScript on the beach, bringing DevOps devs and data scientists together on big data. Is
yeah.
that Jay? What is a J for, Gavin?
That's one of the ones that's in Malaga, and I don't know. I was actually wondering if that was just because the person who started with J, but or some yeah, I don't know.
I
I
might go
guess
to it now.
I'm looking at the website just trying to get some information. Let's see if we can get the about here. Um, it doesn't mention Java specifically. It's all big data. It has a lot of different things, but yeah, I don't know where the Java came from.
We'll have to find that out. I just saw it. I assumed JavaScript, but that is a wrong assumption.
Yeah, I thought it originally was maybe Java related too. But yep. Well, but I know that they have a few different things over there, and Luis has attended a couple already, and Otis is actually a sponsor there in this one, so they're going to be representing again. So that'll be
See,
fun.
Jay on the Beach is an international rendezvous for developers, data scientists, and DevOps around big data technologies.
Yeah. That sounds interesting. If I was in the area, I'd definitely check it out. May 10th through the 12th, though, cutting pretty close to another conference of ours we'll be talking about soon.
Yeah, right on.
But if you're not in Malaga, Spain, they've also got one in London, right?
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the website. So Vue.js Live, page 12th and 15th. Now that is a JavaScript, hence Vue.js. They have online and in London. You can code, create, communicate, 35 speakers, 10 workshops, 10,000 plus joining online globally with 300 people in person. VueJSLive.com.
Yep, VGS has got some pretty cool conferences. JS Nation, VJS Nation earlier in the year was good. I've got lots of videos that I was watching through those, but lots of cool stuff coming. But next, after that, May 17th through 19th, we got Into the Box 2023. So obviously 17th through the 19th, it's going to be 2 days of the conference with 1 day workshop beforehand. It's going to be in Woodlands, the same great location we had last year, which was it's a pretty big improvement. I mean, the previous years was still pretty good, but this one was a lot better. I really like this venue. It's going to be in person only this year, though. So the 10th one, we got some cool stuff that we're trying to get planned to hopefully make it, bigger, better than ever. And we got lots of cool people presenting. Some of them from the original first version are coming back. So let's check out the website here. I got to pull it up and we'll look at the agenda. So on the first day, the pre-conference, you will see the workshop. So again, if you want to attend all 3 days, you can do the workshops as well. So we got Luis and Brad doing async programming and scheduling. And then we got John Coulson doing full stack build, deploy, log, and monitor your web applications. This one's really neat because it shows off a couple of our tools that really basically help you with the whole process. So if you're using external tools and you need to do something more internal, this is a great session. John uses some stuff like stash box, and yeah, it's a couple of cool things in there for sure. So highly recommend that session. But if you have enough trouble deciding already, there's some cool reactive front ends with CFML, CBWire, and Alpine. So Grant's running that one. And then test box. We all need to do more testing. And getting started with BDD, TDD. We got Javier and Eric leading that one. And then another goodie at the end, building a REST API for the modern developer. So Daniel and myself will be running this one. Daniel's going to be leading, I'll be the TA. So showing us all the cool stuff that we use pretty much every day now these days, right? Building APIs for everybody. So command box, code box, CB security, CB validation, Swagger, test box, and more. So lots of cool stuff in there. And then sessions. We actually got quite a lot of the sessions in there. And then this year we have sessions and hands-on. So if we look at the hands-on, we can see we've got a content box headless CMS in 100 minutes with Harvey and Esme. We've got building human-friendly scheduled tasks with Giancarlo and Luis. Then we have an office hours as well. So there's actually a block there where if you guys want to go check out, there'll be a bunch of Audis people in there. You can just ask some questions, and then quick in 100 minutes later that day. And day two's hands-on sessions. We have command box task runners, so everything you need to know about running command box task runners. And then security, so CB Security 3 is going to be with Luis. And then this is a session that I've been talking for quite a while. Sean Oden has this SQL sleuth, learn some SQL while solving a mystery. So it's a really cool approach to learning SQL, and it's kind of a little mystery game as you go. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea.
Is the mystery who broke the database?
No, but yeah, he's been telling me about it for a while, and he's like, man, I really need like 2 sessions back to back, and so this year we have hands-on. I'm like, that's perfect. Let's make it go. So, but we have some great sessions. We got web sockets with CB push, data modeling with NoSQL, headless e-commerce with CFML, like just tons and tons of good sessions. Got some good speakers coming in. Brian Class is going to be there. Obviously, a lot of the Audis people, but Nolan Erk's going to be there as well. And then Kirk Gratz, he's one of the originals from Into the Box, the first version. He's back. And then we have some other great sessions here.
Yeah, some new people, some old favorites, and a lot of the regulars, the usual suspects.
Yep. And then if we go in here, you can check out the other room. We got another whole sheet. So there's a whole bunch more. So there's a lot of great content. So go check it all out. Again, there's lots of cool stuff in here. So 2 tracks, 2 days of conference works, and then we have the hands-on as well. Just tons and tons of great stuff. So again, definitely come check it out. In the person only, so sorry, no live streaming this year. So try and make it out there, and we'll try and make sure that it's the best ever. 10th, it's got to be the best, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the only thing missing is you. So sign up.
For sure.
And I think if you go to the ChatGPT website that we posted earlier, there's a coupon code that you can get a little bit off.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Good.
Yeah.
Good thinking there. So yeah, go check that one out. So go to find the ChatGPT link and then sign up from there, and you get a little discount. Good thinking.
Yeah, if you're watching and want to go sign up, we'll wait. Go ahead.
Okay, and then Scott said, I wonder what you could change the drop down for rooms to a tab so it's easier to notice the different tracks. That's fine. We'll definitely let the people know so they can get that changed. Dan's saying we should ask AI what the J is for. It'll probably tell us J is a letter. But anyway, so we've still got a couple more conferences coming up as well after Into the Box. So if you're not done with conferences, there's still a few more.
Yeah, we got viewcomp.us or .us, however you want to pronounce that. It's in Nolens, New Orleans, Louisiana, from May 24th to 26th. Jazz Code View Workshop Day the 24th, and the main conference 25th to 26th.
Yep, that looks like a pretty cool one too. And then we got CF Camp. So in June 22nd and 23rd, and that's going to be in the Marriott Hotel Munich Airport in Freising. And yeah, it's It's a great one. They have closed the sessions. They've started contacting all the speakers. So actually, I should probably just check and see. Maybe this is
They
already
are.
they're already
They
up
have.
there.
Yep. We've got some
Oh,
artist people up there.
okay. I guess I'll share my screen. I'll just accept these property cookies. There we go. So let's see. So do they?
Go to CF Camp
There we
conference
go.
menu and then speakers.
My bad. Do they have a schedule yet too, or no?
Well, there's a schedule there. I don't know if
They haven't attached it yet. Okay.
they're
Well,
working on it,
oh,
which is fine. They've got time.
so Charlie, Dan Cobb, Pete Freitag, Richard Herbert. I always is it Michael Nat? I always forget how to pronounce that. Michael Horn, Luis, Maximilian Capali,
Yeah, it's
Kai
a several
Koenig.
artist peeps.
These names are gonna get me. Wow. Okay, there's quite a lot of familiar ones. I haven't heard of Grant Sherp before, and Jafar Cheyenne. I haven't heard of him, but most of the rest of
Really?
them oh, Sebastian. Not sure about him either. But yeah, there's some new names. It's kind of cool. I like to see some new speakers out there. So they might have been at previous CF camps, so I am probably just oblivious to that. But yeah, some good names. So some good sessions, I'm sure, are coming your way. So again, tickets are available. And then, yeah, it's always been a great conference, and I will get there one year. But too much family stuff. My family's visiting from New Zealand, and I got told I'm not supposed to leave while they're here. So, family
You
comes to
might want
visit.
to.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But apparently, if my family comes to visit, I can't leave my wife here with them. It's not fair. No, just kidding. So, we'll make it work for sure, but not this year. So, a lot of great people going to be speaking there. So, go sign up, cfcamp.org. Again, great conference.
Yep. And then, as always, there's more conferences. You can go to comps.tech or github.scraley.developers conferences agenda. We can get those links out there.
Yep. A couple extra links for you. Again, so many great conferences out there. Don't be shy.
Comps.tech, that's the one that are into the box on there.
Um, it should be. If not, there's a pull request coming with your name on it. But yeah, it's kind of nice. You just put a pull request in, and they update the schedule, and there's lots of great stuff in there. So
Now you got me looking. Yep, it's in there. We're on top of it.
cool. Yep. And then, of course, we should hopefully hear about CF Summit West. Maybe they'll announce it at East this week about when they're doing it. So keep an eye out for that. Usually that's September, October time. So we'll see what happens later in the year, too.
Yeah.
Blogs, tweets, and videos of the week. So we just got a couple again because we had the podcast just last Thursday. It's only been a few days, and most of us enjoyed our weekend and didn't blog too much. But the first one we have is from Ben Edel. And this one I thought was kind of interesting because it's a thought experiment. So I thought we might take the opportunity to chit chat a little bit about this one since we got a little bit of time here. So let me share my screen. So the thought experiment is creating single use case components in ColdFusion. So basically, a lot of people in the older days in ColdFusion, they had what they called the tiered layering. So you sort of have as far as your models go anyway, obviously you usually have some type of controller or handler, and then in your models, a lot of people would have, gateways and services, and then entity beans or whatever you want to call them, and then your DAOs, which load the entities, and all the different layers, right? And so the other sort of thought is basically moving more towards a workflow layer. And this one here, he talks about taking things and basically basing it on a single use. Now, the coolest thing about this blog post is he mentions 3 really good videos. So at the bottom of this, there's 3 really good videos that we all need to watch. I did not get a chance to watch them all yet, but yeah. So this is a really good sort of session, set of sessions, and basically he's walking through this thought experiment, and then he tells you at the end what he likes or doesn't like about it. And so the interesting thing is that like Uncle Bob says, we should sort of do things more around a workflow layer, and so basically these use cases decide, how to break up your components. And then Sandy Metz talked more about, if something has a private method, you should probably consider it, not relevant to that object, and it should be separated out, pulling it out to another component where you can make it a public method there so other things can use it. And then, basically coming in here, and he works through this process, and so creating all these CFCs. And so my thing with this too is I do this with my handlers. I don't know about you, but like my handlers I keep very cruddy. But when they say component, I'm like, do they mean like handler component or do they mean model? So it's kind of interesting. But I mean, if you break it down to like you have a model for approved pending author, a model for approved pending comment, I mean, these are kind of interesting. Like I would think handler wise that makes sense, but I would probably keep the logic more core. But
Yeah, I like to have any business logic. I like to keep in the models, and then keep my handlers very light, just validations, and pretty much that's it.
yeah, and so these here, I mean, he has like an execute or run or do the thing commands. And again, from a handler side of things, that's probably fine. But if it's a component model, that's where it's kind of different. And so he didn't like this approach mostly because he didn't want to have an explosion of components. And a lot of people agree with that. They don't want to have everything just everywhere. And especially previously, things would be really close together. And so when you start naming them, and he talks about having respective file names starting with the A and R, means those files are very separate in the file system. Obviously you can group them with folders and everything. And of course, then you have to wire everything together using DI or instantiating your objects to be able to create them. Obviously, we're lucky with WireBox; it does it automatically in ColdBox. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. And so I'm definitely feeling more this way with my handlers. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. I want to see what Ben throws up here as like an example if he, has some code or some sort of use case for it. Because I definitely like, pulling things out and cleaning them up. But I don't know. It's just interesting.
If you scroll down to the comments, um, Andrew Kretzer also posted the Credit by Design
Yep.
video. I'm gonna post that in the chat as well because I think it's worth watching.
Yeah, and like for your handlers, absolutely. And like, I don't like having a user handler that does too many things. I mean, we like the resourceful routes setup that ColdBox has, and it's very similar to what Laravel does, and the Credit by Design follows that. And so a lot of times you'll have a user, and if you're going to create a user, you hit, you post to the endpoint, and the function's a create. But now if you have a user and you want to activate them, you don't hit the user with an activate function. Your handler would be separate. You'd actually have like an active user handler, and so you would post to that to create an active user. So you take a normal user and activate them, and if you delete to that same handler, you would inactivate that user. And so your handlers do get pretty big. Each of them, sorry, you have a lot of handlers, but they're very small in scope for each one of them. But then you come back to your model though. Does your model have a function called activate, or do you have a separate model behind the handler that has a similar layer of things? So that's where it gets interesting, I think. That's what I've been battling myself, is how to sort of break those down. So I think I'm going to have to watch some of these videos. But yeah, I'm going to have to definitely watch these videos later today because I definitely like these. And even Ben likes the Credit by Design talk. So good job. But yeah, the interesting thing I think is the Credit by Design works great for the handlers, but what do you do behind it? And that's sort of where I've been thinking about it a lot. So that's why I saw this post and I thought this is a really interesting one. I actually want to just throw that sort of out there and have a chit chat sometime with some smart people and try to figure out what everybody else does or what's the best way to do it. So anyway,
You hear that, Scott? Gavin wants to have a conversation with you later.
yeah, for sure. Well, we'll get some other people. I think it'd be good to have. I'm not saying Scott's not there, but I'm saying we can include other people too. I think maybe that's one of those things we can talk over lunch at Into the Box. So if you guys will shop there, we can bring the computer out and throw us around some ideas and come up with something. But next up, we have another one from Ben. This one not quite so conversational. I guess I won't go too much detail into this one. To be honest, he's talking about Conway's Game of Life, building it in Hotwire and ColdFusion, and I haven't actually seen Conway's Game of Life before, which I thought was interesting. So if we open a new tab, the Wikipedia tells you more about it, but basically Ben's building his own little game board using Hotwire and Cold Fusion, and I don't know, like I said, too much about this. So um, sort of goes into detail about how he's going to build it. He's got the demo here up on GitHub as well, and I believe he has a video if I scroll down far enough. Again, lots of code to build the cells and everything for it. A lot of work into this. But I'll tell you what, this does look kind of cool. And so basically, it's once you start a game, it's going to just keep evolving. And again, I don't know much about it, but he basically built it with Cold Fusion and Hotwire, which is pretty neat. So again, just something interesting. So if you guys want to find out more, if you guys have seen that game, I never have. Has anyone in the chat heard of that game before? Because new to me. What about you, Daniel?
I am not.
But it's an interesting use case for it. I mean, again, these type of like Hotwire and CB wire, just the live quick updating, those types of things are good for games. Just fast reloading. So it's kind of a good in case. So
I'm trying to Google it and it's not letting me click on it. That's weird.
Technology's not our friend today. It's okay.
Oh,
Okay. Well, let's move on. So, find a job. So, if you haven't got a job or you're looking for a new one, we got some links for you here.
Yep. As always, you go to getcfmljobs.com. We got lots of postings there, over 57 CF positions from 36 companies across 28 locations in 5 countries. 2 new jobs this week: a full-time senior software engineer in Bangalore, India. This was posted on April 1st. And a full-time software engineer in Bengaluru, Karna, India.
Karnataka, yeah.
As well. Are those the same?
Possibly, yeah. And this site does a good job of scraping other tools. So if I open them up here, we might see where they come from. So they got different IDs. So they're probably scraped. So one is from Ultisource.
Oh yeah.
And the other one's Ultisource. But if you see more details, this one's Indeed. Oh, it's just a different Indeed link. So that just scraped them twice by the look of it. But again, there's some other good opportunities back here as well. And again, if you are looking for a job, it's a great place to look. And if you're looking for someone, it's a great place to post too. So if you do have a job opening in your place, let us know, and we'll gladly add it to the list we talk about here. And we got jobs channels in the CFML Slack and the Box team too. So very cool. And those were posted on April Fools, but it's not an April Fool's joke. I'm pretty sure they're real. So that brings us to an interesting point. Did you see any good April Fool's jokes, Daniel, this year? Because it was a Saturday this year. I didn't pay as much attention.
I think there was something in the news about somebody that won an Oscar and they had to return it, but it was a joke the kids were playing on them. But I didn't really.
Cool.
Usually Google does something fun, and I didn't. I was oblivious.
Yeah, I saw something was people were just talking about this new framework that they converted. But again, we always have these great ideas to do it, but it never falls on a day we can. So lucky for everybody else. So okay, well, ForgeBox module of the week. Let's talk about a new one, and there's actually quite a few new ones popping up, and this one is kind of interesting because it's built by a non-community member or a non-Ortus member. Sorry, Ryan. He's not an Ortus person, but he built CB Scheduler Viewer, and so if you guys are using CB Scheduler at all, this one might be a good one for you. So basically it's just a little, and it is experimental, but it's a little viewer so you can see the tasks that you have set up in ColdBox, the scheduler, when they were created, the last execution, duration, period, all the information you can normally get from the service, and he's just sort of spat it out there. And so you can see if they're enabled or not. You can run them manually if you need to, and then it's basically just a nice little tool to make that viewable. I'm sure that I think Luis has something planned for the scheduler. I think it's an HQ version, and so they usually have you can basically tap into multiple apps and see them all in one location and everything planned to come out. But this is a great little module, and again, just drop it in and then navigate to the CB scheduler viewer, and then things will work. And then they do have some settings in here. But yeah, so it's kind of neat. I mean, if you guys haven't seen the ColdBox scheduler, it's got some pretty cool functionality. It's got some pretty cool tools. I've been using CBQ lately that uses the CB scheduler behind the scenes too, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, it's a great way to see what's actually running. So I might have to install this and get a bit of grip on all these things. And remember, isn't there a scheduler talk at Into the Box? I think there is, or was it the workshop?
Um, there's an async one.
I think that was part of it.
Async
Async and
scheduling.
or maybe the hands-on with Giancarlo and Luis was scheduling. Anyway, it's
Oh yeah, building human-friendly schedule tasks.
yep, there we go. Because it's so much easier than going to the admin to find stuff, and yeah, very cool. So I like the fact with queuing too. You can create them in one process and consume them from another, and pretty neat. So thanks again, Ryan, for creating that and sharing that on ForgeBox. And again, if you guys got feedback, let them know. It's experimental right now, but start
Use
of
at your own risk,
yeah,
which is what he
exactly.
says.
Yep. But yeah, it's something we can build on and be a great little resource for the community. So very cool. Next up, we have VS Code hint, tip, and trick of the week: the tongue twister.
Yeah. So this is one we mentioned before, back in last year, actually, almost a year ago. A live server for VS Code. It's now at 32 million installs, up from 19 million just over a year ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
So if you haven't used this, you can launch a local development server with the live reload feature. It's great for static and dynamic pages. Just a quick, so basically, as you're coding in and you make a change in your code, it'll reload the browser so you can see it. So especially if you're working on a JS or static site, it's very handy. Um,
Yeah, you don't have to worry about using your build tool. Like I know a lot of the tools out there for, I know Quasar has one and everything else. So when you're doing that stuff, it gives you that live reload. And so if you go old school, you don't get that, but this live server fills that gap, which is pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. My wife's been working on my son's webpage. It's a static one pager, and I showed her VS Code and Git and this, and she's coding and doing it, and she's like, "Oh, this is awesome." I'm like, yeah, yes, it is.
Yep, and it says note if you, in case you don't have any HTML or HTML files in your workspace, then you have to follow method number 4 and 5 to start the server. Huh. Because I know that like Ben had issues with Hotwire because it couldn't see the HTMLs and HTML, so you had to like make it work, pretending Cold Fusion pages were HTMLs. So I wonder if you could do something sneaky like that here.
Oh, I don't know.
But very cool.
Maybe you can wire up command box to it somehow. Well, I feel like is there a command box extension that does that too if you're using command box?
That I'll have to look up. I know that there were some tools that did some interesting things. But yeah, I mean, if you change some files, I wonder if we could get that all hooked up. But that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's a great little VS Code tool there. If you guys, again, as you're building your layouts, maybe you're trying to build out your layouts in HTML before you convert them over to your ColdBox layout or just your view files. This is a great little option for that. And stuff like Alpine, especially if you're working with Alpine these days, it's nice to be able to just without a build script just reload things. So
Oh,
oh
Scott just said there is a live reload for command box.
it uses Browserify.
No, I wasn't picking
Interesting.
that up.
So we might have to tag on another little option in there for those reading the show notes later.
Of course, I'm looking in ForgeBox and not finding it. Oh well, we'll look later.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder what that is. Yeah, we'll have to look it up later and share on the socials. But cool. Thanks, Scott, for answering that one. Okay, and next up, our Patreon supporters. So we want to thank our Patreon supporters. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do all the things we are doing. It's great to have the financial support of so many great people in the community. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do the things we're doing. Command box, ForgeBox, ColdBox, Content Box, Test Box, all these other boxes, they get help from the supporters and all the Cold Fusion work that Ortus does for our clients too. So it's a great help to have that, and it helps basically fund the cloud infrastructure, because our ForgeBox and our package management, we foot the bill for that for the community, and this is a way that people are financially saying thanks back. And we appreciate all our supporters, whether they're just doing pull requests or issues or building their own tools. It's all great, but we want to say thanks to them especially. And remember, as a Patreon supporter, you get some perks. So the bronze package isn't up. You get that ForgeBox Pro and CFCast subscription, so you get to see all the great CFCast content for free. And then basically all Patreon supporters have some special badges too. So they have a profile badge on the community website. They have their own private forum access on the community website. And then on Slack, in the Box Team Slack, we have a private channel for them too. So you guys get a little extra special attention in there. And sometimes we use that to run some ideas past people or whatnot. So you guys get a little extra help. And those guys got a little extra week or two of the ChatGPT before we announced it. So they got to play before everybody else did. So. But we want to thank our top Patreons this week, and want to give us a list of our top of the top best peoples.
Absolutely. Top of the top. John Wilson with Synaptrix. Tomorrow's Guides. Jordan Clark. Gary Knight. Mario Rodriguez. Giancarlo Gomez. David Bellinger. Dan Card. Jeffrey McGee with Sunstar Media. Dean Mounder. Nolan Irk. Abdul Rahim, and many, many more Patreons out there. As always, you can see an up-to-date list of all sponsors on Ortus Solutions website, ortussolutions.com/about-us/sponsors. And that's in the chat, or will be. There it is.
Yep. So again, thanks everybody. Hope everyone has a great week. If you're at Dev Nexus, say hi to the Ortus people there. If you're at CF Summit, I know Luis will be there. So you guys say hi, and have a great week. Happy Easter. And we'll see you guys all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.